Well, hello there. Welcome to the Ep3 Alliance. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Luke.
And in today's video, we're doing episode 3 of the podcast. So, what have you been watching? Hope you've been enjoying this series. Welcome to new viewers and viewers from episode 1 and 2. So, what have you been watching in general, Luke?
Watched a few things on streaming services, rewatched some old stuff, watched a couple of things that I only recently watched the second time, been to the movies. So yeah, a few things. Probably the main thing I've watched is I started rewatching Atlanta. So I talked about that as one of my most anticipated shows for the year, and because season 3 is coming out, and I didn't realize season 2 was already out because it was a show that came out a while ago and kind of vanished. So I started to watch season 2, and I watched the first episode, and I realized I don't remember at all what happened in season 1. So I've gone back to watch season 1, and I'm about 3 episodes in, and it's good. I really like it. I'm glad I rewatched it because I didn't really remember what happened. So that's one of the things I've been watching. What are some of the things you've been watching?
Afterlife, Ozarks, and The Sinner.
So Ozarks, a new season just came out?
Yeah, it's the final season and it's split into 2 parts of 7 episodes.
Finished it?
The first part, yes.
Okay. Oh, so you got to wait for the next part to come out, or
yeah?
Okay, that's annoying. That's a weird way of doing it.
Yeah, so that's how they get you.
So it's not a drop release of them all, and it's not a weekly release. It's 2 drops.
Basically, of 7 episodes because it's the final season. So basically, what they've done is, we know you're going to watch the 7 episodes because at this point you're invested for the final season. So we'll end the 7th and final episode on a cliffhanger. So it's like, you're going to come back.
And how long do you have to wait for the other 7 to come out?
I tried to have a look for the release date for the next batch, but it's not saying.
Yeah, that's different. And you got other shows like Peacemaker that released 3 episodes at once and then weekly from there. Yeah, it's weird stuff. And then what? Afterlife. This is the last season too.
Yep, that concluded its story arc, and in a very nice way. And the writer has even said he doesn't want to do season 4, and I think it's a good way to do the show. Sometimes what the problem is that writers and directors want to do more seasons for the sake of it, like The Walking Dead, for example, that has 12 seasons and overstayed its welcome, and Afterlife is a nice show that has done 3 seasons and it's going out with a bang.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a show I've been told to watch and I haven't got around to it. And I do really like Ricky Gervais, so I will get around to watching that. Now that it's concluded, I probably would find it easy to watch because I know what I'm in for, 3 seasons. And The Sinner, that's a new season that just dropped the last couple of days.
Yeah, part 4, season 4, and it's the last season, so hopefully it finishes well. I personally wouldn't mind a 5th season, but unless the other network picks it up, it's going to be the final season.
Well, being an anthology series, it can carry on easier almost. But would you question that the main character, how does he keep getting involved in such crazy mysteries? Like, is there a point where this is unbelievable?
Yeah, that's true.
But still, that's shows, it's meant to be entertaining, not believable sometimes. You watched any movies?
No, just those things.
And well, we've got a new episode of Peacemaker out, but neither of us have watched it yet.
No.
So that came out yesterday. So we'll probably talk about that on the next episode. So back to you asked me what I've been watching. So I've been rewatching Atlanta, which is it's a cool thing to rewatch a show before a new season. Really enjoying that.
Do you feel like you're picking up on things that you didn't the first time, and it's kind of helping you re-watching it the second time, or you just completely forgot about it?
I think in general that would be the case. I watched it so long ago. The first season came out in 2016. So I've honestly just forgot about what happened. So I'm watching it and I remember the episode, but I don't really remember the details. So I'm not picking up on something new. I'm almost rewatching it to begin with. I don't remember it well enough. But generally, if it's a show I know well or that I've seen recently and you rewatch it, then yeah, I pick up on something new. Like, for instance, I've been watching... I've already watched the first 4 episodes of Peacemaker, but then I've watched them again because I was sitting with my mum and stepdad. They were watching it, so I watched it with them because I was trying to convince them to watch it. And so I for that, I did pick up new things on it the second time because it was still fresh in my mind that I did remember originally what happened. And then the same with Power. So that's one of my favourite shows of all time. I convinced them to watch it, and they just finished the last season of the main series because there's spin-offs. And I watched a few episodes of that with them, and that I picked up on things I didn't notice the first time, and even characters that I completely forgot existed. So that was cool. Other shows, I was being very excited about Always Sunny in Philadelphia coming out to streaming services. So I'd seen the first 13 seasons on Amazon Prime when it was on there. And so I was waiting for it to become available, and then Jake had notified me maybe last year it was on Amazon Prime, and I luckily binge watched all 13 seasons that were available on there, and then it disappeared. And since then, 2 more seasons had came out, and they were not available anywhere. Like, I couldn't purchase, couldn't do nothing about watching them here in Australia. And then they came to Disney Plus. So I've watched the first episode of season 14 the other night, and it was funnier than ever. I actually think this is a show that even after 14 seasons, it finds a way to get funnier as each season goes on, which is rare. They don't seem to be running out of ideas. So I'm looking forward to continuing with that. And movie-wise, I went and saw... Weirdly, it's just called Scream, which I don't know how that works because it's not a remake of the original Scream. It's actually the 5th movie in the trilogy. But instead of being called Scream 5, they just called it Scream. So in order, it goes Scream, Scream 1, Scream 2, Scream 3, Scream 4, and then Scream. Which I don't get that. I understand if it's a remake, you can just call it by the same name, because sometimes like Halloween, there's Halloween, and there's Halloween, and then in brackets it's like 2020, like it's a remake. But this wasn't the case. So, I don't know. Okay movie, slasher movie, silly, unbelievable, all the typical things that come with slasher movies, but as a big fan of the franchise, it ticked a lot of boxes. We had legacy characters returning, we had new characters, we had characters that linked the old and new together, and then the twist was okay, but you could see it coming.
So you guessed who the one in the mask was?
I had a very, very strong suspicion, but there's always that chance of it's going to be a twist and it won't be them. But for me, it wasn't a twist. It actually was who I thought it was to begin with. So.
And did you like who it was?
No, I think the premise of the movie could have been better. I don't want to spoil it, but the 2 people that they picked... So generally in these movies, there always seems to be 2 killers, and they work as a team, but they wear the same mask. So the 2 people they picked for this time, I don't believe that either of them could be killers. I don't think they have the strength to be able to do the things that they did in this movie. So I'm not going to say it's believable. I would have liked it. There was other possibilities. There was characters that they referenced that we don't see that are like on holidays, or relatives that have moved overseas, or I think it would have been a cooler twist if it was maybe one of them instead. But instead they went with two people I think were pretty obvious. So it's, it's for a slasher, it's getting an okay rating because it was enjoyable, but as a movie in general, it's pretty average. So that's I've been watching. What are you looking forward to watching?
Definitely Peacemaker when I get around to it, and the Book of Boba Fett.
How far are you into the Book of Boba Fett now?
Episode 5.
And was there a new episode that came out that you haven't watched yet? Or?
Yeah, Wednesday.
You think it's better or worse than The Mandalorian?
Oh, a lot of people are upset with the Book of Boba Fett, but I'm enjoying it. I think what made The Mandalorian, why a lot of people enjoyed it, was because of the child and, you know, how cute he was, but it doesn't necessarily make him a good character. And I think The Mandalorian is quite a basic show when you think about it. Like, if it wasn't Star Wars, I don't think it would be as popular as it is. So I think the Book of Boba Fett has more potential. It's just comparing a show that has had 2 seasons and 5 episodes. It's a bit hard to say. It's like clearly one's better than another, but it's hard to judge.
Yeah, as I said, I didn't like. I'm just not interested in The Mandalorian, and I said I'd watch the Book of Boba Fett, but I just can't seem to convince myself to do it. But I think after the season finishes, I'll wait for your final recommendation and then make a decision from there. But I am going to definitely watch Obi-Wan. There's no... is it Kenobi are they calling it? Or are they calling it Obi-Wan?
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, like I will definitely be watching that. There's no doubt about it. But I'm iffy on Book of Boba Fett.
So I guess a discussion or a topic that I want to get into is, why do you think some shows get cancelled and some shows kind of keep on going? Do you think it's more the network that they're on, or more just how lucky or unfortunate some things are?
You know, it could be a mixture of things. You know, sometimes it's actors that want more money than the network can afford. Sometimes the network don't find something popular, or sometimes we think a show's amazing and other people don't think the same. So wherever they collect their data from, or how they determine whether it's making them money, maybe they go, this show isn't great. And we might go, this is the best show we've ever seen, but we could be the only people that like it. So there's always some kind of reason as to why something gets cancelled. And then there's shows that you think are rubbish and they just keep getting renewed. And again, it could be we think it's bad, but lots of other people like it, or maybe it's cheap to make, or sometimes they might have contracts that stipulate that they are going to get X amount of seasons to begin with. And that's why it gets continued on, even if after the first season it's bad. They're like, well, you know, the network is paying us for 3, so we're making 3. So there's no real cut and dry answer, but it does get annoying when a show you really like doesn't get renewed, and then something you think is stupid continues on and on.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's hard to take my word for it. I don't like Game of Thrones, and that's one of the most popular, if not the most popular show of all time. So I wouldn't have... I'm surprised that got renewed, but then it went on for 10 seasons or something.
Yeah.
Well, what are your thoughts on that? Do you...
Oh, I think it depends on what network it is sometimes, and how much. I don't know if popularity has to do with it, because sometimes a show can be really popular and it still gets cancelled. It seems like if you're on Apple TV, you don't get cancelled. Like, it has less exclusives, but they don't like to cancel any. Netflix, they have really good exclusive, but they don't mind cancelling it. So I think it's the luck of the draw.
Definitely networks can make a difference. I reckon Apple, when they make a show, they commit to so many seasons. And I think that's why. But, yeah, I think Netflix are a bit more cutthroat. I think Netflix don't make as much money as we think they do. So they have to be very careful with something. If they don't see it as making them profit or being the reason that people are subscribing, they have to go, well, time to cut your losses. I guess Netflix too, they buy a lot of things that aren't originals.
Yeah.
So that costs them money. You know, if they want to put Harry Potter on, they're paying for Harry Potter. Where, you know what, if Warner Brothers had their own streaming service, they could just air Harry Potter as much as they wanted, because they have the rights to it. Like, I'm sure there's royalties paid somewhere along the lines, but it would cost them less. So Netflix, maybe they have to cut a show in order to save money to be able to purchase Friends to continue on forever or something. One of those shows they like to just keep on and on. You see any other new things coming on Netflix?
There's a show called Snowman coming out. I believe is based like off a comic book, and it looks pretty interesting.
I saw a preview for, I think it's on Stan. It's like it's like a actors playing like Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin from the Tiger King series. And I think it might be called Joe versus Carol. And I don't know if it's a movie or a several part series, but I think it was a show where they were talking about, I don't know if it's the same thing, but a while back it was rumoured that in some kind of movie or show that Joe Exotic was going to be played by Nicolas Cage, I think. But then it's not Nicolas Cage in this, so I don't know if this is or isn't it, but it's some kind of series about them and their hatred for each other, so I think maybe they missed the boat there. I think the Tiger King saga is kind of sailed because Tiger King season 2 wasn't very popular. So I don't think this movie's it hasn't got much to build off, where if it came out prior to season 2, I think maybe it would have did a bit better.
Do you think that's a problem that writers or the business of creation, sometimes it's actually better just to do one season of something while it's on a high, and then maybe try and do something else instead of milking something?
I'm not a fan of milking. Like, there's definitely shows out there that continue on for the sake of continuing on.
Yeah.
But it's hard to know, because I guess when you finish filming season 1 or any season, you pretty much need to start preparing for season 2. So they don't get that feedback of people saying, oh, this is bad, this is good, you should change this, until it's too late. And then you've also, when you write the series or the season, if it's season 1, you need to write it so that it's open-ended, so there is a second season. You can't have it finished where it's like every character dies. Then you can't, there's no option for a second season. So they've got to write it and possibly finish on a cliffhanger, unknowing if there will be a season 2. So it's interesting. I saw, I think it came up on Disney, another Marvel animated series.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, not that one. I saw one, it was like something of Monkey.
Oh yeah, Monkey Hitman.
Yeah, that was it. And it's like Jason Sudeikis. It must be the voice of the monkey, maybe.
Yeah. Because
it just said, like, came up on my phone. It's like, must watch, like, new Marvel series starring Jason Sudeikis. And I was like, oh, what superhero is he going to be? But then it was an animated series. Have you heard anything about it? Are you excited about this?
All I know is that it's the same actor that plays Ted, and he voices the monkey.
Yeah, I wonder where it fits into the Marvel universe. Like, it must tie in with other superheroes, because otherwise it would just be pointless. I'm interested to check it out, because I do like Jason Sudeikis. Animated, it's not my favourite thing, but it sounds kind of funny. He's like a monkey hitman. It's probably something you're more likely to enjoy and watch.
Yeah.
You do like animated series. So, I don't know, maybe I might wait to see what you think of it, and then you can give me a recommendation.
Yeah.
Other things I've seen that are new that I might give a watch. I keep seeing the ads for Gold, TV show, a movie on Stan starring, what's his name? Zac Efron, and it was filmed in Australia. Have you watched that yet?
No.
I haven't heard anything about it, but it's just been pumped up a lot on TV, so maybe that might be worth getting a watch this weekend if I'm looking for a new movie to watch. But I think it's something to do with being stuck in the desert or panning for gold. Something along those lines. Any other topics or things you want to discuss?
Do you find that you go towards shows that have a couple more seasons, or you find that you worry about getting disappointed about the show kind of not... Do you find that you go for the show that is finished, or more the show that has started, but the worry is that it'll get cancelled or something will happen to it?
I do like new stuff. I don't think I've ever been hesitant about watching something because it may get cancelled. If it's good, I'll give it a watch. Or if it seems exciting, I'll give it a watch. In terms of like, if someone was to give me a recommendation, they go, oh, watch this show, it's got 5 seasons. Or someone's like, oh, watch this one, it's got 10. I don't know. I like the idea of more, but then I guess you're a bit scared of, oh, I'm investing myself for 10 seasons here, where 5 sounds, a bit like you could ease into it. So I don't know. I don't know if I have a preference, but I can see the pros and cons of both. Do you have a preference for one of the two?
I guess I always like something that has a story that you know what you're getting into, but it's always nice starting something new and good. But the worry is that it might cancel at some point, so it's hard to get invested.
And if a show's finished, would you like people to not tell you how it ends, but tell you if it was a good or bad ending? And would that change whether you want to watch it or not?
I guess so, yeah.
If someone goes, oh, yeah, you should watch Seinfeld, it's great, it's real funny, it's got 10 seasons, but the ending's horrible, would that off-put you to watch Seinfeld?
I'd probably just not watch the final episode.
Yeah. Well, I guess because you've seen Seinfeld, you know how funny it can be.
Yeah.
But if someone was to describe it to you and say, oh, and it ends badly, you'd be like, oh, well, why would I watch this? It sounds horrible. But it doesn't really need an ending, Seinfeld. They could have just stopped. So that's probably not a good example.
Something that I also brought up at some point is they're making a show about the Showtime Lakers. Are you looking forward to watching that?
Yeah, you told me about it last week. To be honest, I don't know much about them except for you mentioned Magic Johnson's in it. He was part of the Showtime Lakers, so I like the idea of basketball series, documentaries, whatever we're going to call it, because you said it's actors playing them.
Yeah, it's different to The Last Dance. What The Last Dance was a documentary about the Bulls and it had different timelines. What this is a TV show with the actors based on real characters.
Yeah, I feel like they call it like a doco series when they do that. It's like they are showing you real events but with actors opposed to the real people, like they're recreating the events.
Yeah,
I'm keen to have a look at it. I do like basketball. I'm just not overly familiar with the Showtime Lakers, as I'm only a new basketball fan, and even at that I don't know that much. So yeah, I'd like to give it a watch. What streaming service is that going to be on?
I would assume for us Binge, since it's a HBO Max show. And do you have any time frames as to when this might come out or who might be in it? Joe C. Riley, who was in Step Brothers, is I think the general manager or the owner of the club, and besides that I couldn't recognise anyone else.
Okay, and have they started filming this?
The trailer came out.
Oh, okay, so they're that far into it, so maybe I have to watch the trailer.
I can't remember what the release date was, but yeah, the trailer looked good. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, well, I'll have to check out the trailer after this.
Because Peacemaker was in our top 5 most anticipated shows, do you think it's living up to being in that list, or are you disappointed? Do you think it's worthy of people's time? What's your thought about Peacemaker?
No, it's living up to it. I think it's better than what I thought it was going to be. The concept, I think, with the Fireflies is silly so far, but we don't know enough about it. But John Cena himself and his character Peacemaker are classic, really good. So far it's a hit in my opinion. What do you think?
Oh, I've enjoyed it. I think it does a good balance between comedy and action. If I had to compare it between the Marvel shows, I think it smacks all of them down the park, except for Loki. And yeah, it's definitely the best DC show that I can think of. Maybe season 1 of The Flash is better, but The Flash had too many seasons yet again. It dragged on you a bit too much. It has like 6 or 7 seasons. And Peacemaker, I just think is it's strong. It's the opening credits scene itself is just worth watching.
Yeah, I agree. I do watch it every time. No, it's lived up to its expectations. I'm looking forward to watching a new episode this weekend.
Is there... So, you said with Scream, do you find... Do they leave room for making a 6th one?
None of the movies finish open-end. Like, it's always...
Up to the...
It's always the murderer... Pretty certain they die in everyone. They die... And then the heroes are always left, damaged but alive. And then they just, every time it's just, oh no, it's happening again. The murderer's back. So they end in a way that they all could be the last, but they can always restart it for no reason whatsoever. Like literally, this is, 10 years later, someone's decided they want to go around and start killing people in a mask again. They don't require a reason. It's not like the killer got away and he's been hiding or someone's left on a cliffhanger. It just always ends with, we survived. And then the killer is dead usually.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, so they probably will make more, but I feel like maybe not. They kind of closed the chapter for a few of the returning actors and actresses, and they may continue on, but it had the feeling like it was designed to be the last one. But I don't know. Who knows? It is by a powerhouse studio such as Paramount. So I think that they have the money and power to keep it going. So wait and see.
Between all the streaming services lately, which one do you find that you're favouring between the big ones?
I think Disney's always going to be the strongest from here on out. For me, Netflix probably gets the most airtime because it has the most on it. But Binge has finally been getting watched. Since Peacemaker and Atlanta, I've been watching Binge, which is very much a neglected streaming service of mine. What about you?
Netflix and Peacemaker. So you're neglecting Apple TV Plus. That used to be pretty...
there's just nothing really on it, to be honest. Like, there is a few shows on there I haven't watched yet, but I don't know if I'm that excited. There's nothing for me to watch. It's just kind of seeing what I want to see.
Are you more of a person that likes the show or the streaming service? Like, if you could have the show, would you take the show or the streaming service?
Oh, it's the show. I couldn't care less what streaming service it's on. It'd be nice if they were all on one and you didn't have to pay for so many.
One to rule them all.
Yeah, but I don't really care. I did annoyingly get a notification yesterday that it's like, oh, congratulations, Amazon is now adding Paramount Plus for a free subscription. And they're like, after your 7 days runs out, we'll be charging you. And it's like, well, I never asked for it. I don't want it. So anyone out there that's got that, remind yourself to unsubscribe. Otherwise, you're going to get charged $9 a month for Paramount Plus. And if you didn't want it, too bad. You got it. There is some things I want to watch on Paramount Plus, but I don't want to pay $8 for it and $9 a month yet. Like, I'll wait.
I think the only things that I know that are good is the new Dexter show, and I believe Halo is coming out on the streaming service, but besides that,
Yeah, a lot of the other established shows that are on there aren't of interest, and there is Workaholics, which I love, but I've seen it, so I don't feel the need to pay $9 a month to potentially watch a few episodes of it. Seems like an unnecessary amount of money to spend. So unsubscribe from Amazon Prime if you don't want that, because they will charge you.
So what's the show that you want to get into that you have heard about that it doesn't have to be popular? What's something that you want to get into or sink your teeth into?
I've been told about Parks and Recreation.
That's on Netflix, I believe.
Yeah, I've watched the first episode of that, and I thought it was decent. And just didn't go back for the second episode because other things came up, and it's just one of those ones that are sitting on my watch list. So maybe continue on with Parks and Rec. I would like to watch the second season of Power Book 2, but I don't know. It was like the first one I put off, and then when I watched it, it was so good. So I'll just get around it. So yeah, those two. Yourself?
There's a show on Netflix that came out. I can't remember what it's called. It's like this thriller horror about this person that's filming something, and then the other person is trying to get the footage and recovering it. So probably that one when I got a chance.
Okay.
So, are you more someone that gravitates with a show of if they got a famous actor or someone that you recognise, or are you more someone that likes the story, and if you get invested in the characters, it doesn't matter if there's no famous people? Because, for example, like the cast of The Big Bang Theory, they were nobodies at season 1, and now the actors... they're famous now.
An established actor helps, but at the end of the day, it's the premise of the show that is more important. Like if I see the trailer or read about it and it sounds like it's going to be good, then that's more important than anything. But a star actor is what's going to draw you to it if you're unsure. Yourself?
A famous actor does help, but like I said, normally from season 1, the people that are doing the show get famous from it anyway, so it's a good opportunity for people to do TV shows to get famous, so that's the opportunity for them. It's like the question is that if you had an opportunity as an actor to get famous, would you do a TV show or a movie? There's more opportunity as a TV show, but you get typecast. But as a movie, if you get successful, like Daniel Radcliffe, everyone knows him as Harry Potter. So,
well, I guess a movie, you're gonna probably get seen by more people, but a show, if it's ongoing work. But then you get typecast. But I see more and more now actors on multiple shows and doing movies in between their shows. So I think you're not just being stuck to one thing anymore. So I think it's changing a bit.
Well, thank you, Luke. Like and subscribe. Hope you're enjoying the podcast series. See you in episode 4. Let the force be with you. Bye-bye.